If you're a photographer, you've probably encountered some type of 3D printed item before, especially in the film photography world, where many spare parts and accessories aren't available anymore or simply don't exist. To be honest, I was someone who was generally skeptical of 3D printed things, especially in the earlier days, because factors like poor tolerances and just the rough look of certain items contributed to this. But as time's gone on, printers have improved, and so have the amount of materials, plans, software, and more. In my domain of film photography, I'm seeing more options for parts that you otherwise couldn't get. For example, old film cameras, small item breaks, and you can't get a spare part for it anymore. You've got useful accessories and even entire cameras that are 3D printed. There's also been a general improvement in the quality and usability of these. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Hesham. Thanks for joining. A while back, a company called Anycubic reached out to me to collaborate on a video showcasing one of their 3D printers. I expressed my reservations to them since this isn't my area of expertise, nor the topic of this channel. In fact, I had next to no experience in this at all, but they were still happy to send me their Kobra S1 printer in exchange for making a video. I told them as long as I can be honest and make the video from my unique perspective, I'm happy to do it. I also told them that I would need a lot of time to learn the ropes and be confident enough to present anything useful. And they were cool with that too, so here we are. I did receive the printer in exchange for making this video, so use that information as you will. This video will focus on 3D printing from my perspective as a photographer, and here are some examples of things that I've printed in the months since I've been using the S1. Specialty carriers for scanning film, masks for LED lights, holders for 35mm film canisters, a darkroom easel, tongs, funnels, camera grips, and more. Besides all that, I've also used it to print generally useful items around the house, like spare parts for a broken shaver and plant items like trellises. But focusing on photography, the utility goes way beyond my examples. People print entire complex panoramic cameras, custom backs, as you might have seen in Nick Carver's video series, and many other general parts and accessories for both digital and film photography. I've shown some pre-manufactured items on the channel before, like the tri-stand copy stand from the company Dispo Studio, and I've showcased items that use 3D printed parts like those from Negative Supply in their copy stands and film scanning items. Considering the price of these items, a 3D printer can pay for itself pretty quickly in this photography space. Take the tone carrier system for digitizing film as an example. If you compare the cost of the 120 and 35mm Pro carriers from Negative Supply to the STL files for the equivalent option from Tone Photographic, you're already looking at the price of this Anycubic S1. This is even after you add the cost of filament, build parts, and electricity. Sure, the Negative Supply items use a lot more metal and are beautifully made items, don't get me wrong, but I'm just trying to illustrate a point here. The advantage also lies in the fact that you can print your own items like masks, hoods, or future upgrades and add-ons at your leisure. Now, I know not everyone can justify buying, using, or having the space for a 3D printer, but a lot of this applies even if you have access to one in a public space or maybe at a friend's house. The most interesting thing about printers over the last 5 years is how prevalent and accessible they've become. I've even started to notice them when I walk into certain department stores, like here we have Harvey Norman and I see them on demo there. And just the idea of being able to create something from scratch has probably grown in appeal. Taking the Kobra or Cobra, whatever you want to call it, S1 Combo as an example, it retails at $749 US or about 1,200 Australian dollars. There is currently a sale at the time of making this video, and there often tends to be one, but I'll put up some information or a link to whatever the current price is. This combo includes a 4-color multi-material capability using the included filament holder that also doubles as a dryer. The S1 has up to 25 square centimeter print size and many capabilities and features on par with competing brands in this range like Bamboo. In my opinion, this was much cheaper than I expected for something like this, and even the various filaments and parts are surprisingly affordable. Anycubic sent me a few rolls of filament in different materials, but I eventually went ahead and purchased a few extra colors which were delivered quickly from their online store. But I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in the technical area of these things, so I'll give you my take as a first-time user. I received the combo well packed and I was able to unpack and set it up as per the instructions without any help or complications. I then found a spot for it, connected it to my Wi-Fi, and installed the Anycubic Slicer Next software. Again, I barely know what the names of different parts were or what the hell a slicer is. So this is basically the software you use to prepare your models and send them to the printer. And as many of us do, I turned to YouTube to watch a video on this particular printer and get a general sense of things. I did a test print of one of the built-in models of this little spider, which turned out great. And I then jumped on Maker Online, which is one of the many websites showcasing 3D models available in many different categories. My first prints included items I've already mentioned in this video, like the community version of the tone carrier for 35mm film and this little film pod. Both of these are freely available for personal use, as are many thousands of other similar items in the photography category. And loading up models into the software was pretty straightforward, whether they were STL files or 3MF files. Learning the basics of these print parameters was mostly self-explanatory or explained in the Anycubic software itself. For things I didn't understand, I was easily able to Google or find YouTube videos. Thankfully, this printer shares many of the same attributes as common printers like those from Bamboo Lab, so most of the information out there translates easily. The Anycubic Slicer software is also based on Orca Slicer, which is a common open source software with a friendly user interface. So all in all, it was pretty simple to translate recommended print settings from various plans made for other printers, or it was possible for me to Google an item and find the equivalent setting if needed. To be honest, most things didn't require much or any override from me. But with more complex models, there is increasing difficulty, especially with intricate parts that have low tolerances. So I'd warn you that there is a considerable learning curve to 3D printing in general, and you will get failed prints. When it comes to making custom 3D designs, I also had next to no experience since maybe my university days, but I wanted to make a simple light mask adapter for this cute new design light for scanning film to fit a negative supply carrier or my EFH on top. So I just made a mock-up with some paper, made some other measurements with calipers, and translated it into a free online modeling software called Tinkercad. After one failed attempt due to a mismeasurement on my part, I printed a second copy, which was great. And I used the ABS filament, which has a high heat tolerance since the light does output a lot of heat. And it's been working perfectly for me since then. I also followed a similar process to create a shim for the focusing screen on a Yashica Flex, replacing a previous Band-Aid fix that I was using made up from cut up milk cartons. I think this is where some of the best use is, being able to make your own parts to solve your own unique problems. Maybe I'll advance to more complex 3D models with time, but for now, plenty are available online while I practice my 3D modeling skills. Some of the more complex plans included this Tone Photographic 120 film carrier, which benefits from certain printer capabilities like multi-material printing for the support or for using different colors in the same model, the ironing feature, both of which the S1 is capable of. The ironing is an interesting feature that adds print time but can give you smoother flat surfaces, which is nice for certain items or parts. So having certain features like these on the S1 opens up more doors to printing certain parts and models. The precision was overall quite nice, even for intricate areas like these S-curved film paths in the film carrier and the rollers. Something like this little darkroom easel was also a fun build, which helped me learn a few things or lessons in software settings. And all I needed besides the parts I 3D printed was just some simple screws and some glue, I think, or maybe not even that. But yeah, that's something that, for example, you might otherwise pay a fair bit of money for. Given my limited experience, the quality of the prints is quite nice, but keep in mind much of this relies on your experience and setting the ideal print parameters. There will always be trial and error, especially when you're learning the ropes. The speed of printing is also good, with various options to balance speed against other variables like noise and accuracy. My overall experience as a complete beginner was that 3D printing isn't as complex as I thought. The built-in interface, the software, the AI features, and the breadth of online resources made the Kobra S1 a user-friendly experience while giving high-quality results at respectable speeds. Looking at this area of 3D printed items in the photography space, I've only now started to realize the full potential. Having access to 3D printing can open doors to solving problems, keep old cameras alive, or save money on parts and accessories. You can make completely custom parts, access thousands of free plans, or buy high quality plans for items that would otherwise cost you a lot of money to purchase pre-made. 3D printing has become a viable option in my opinion, whether you have access to your own printer or someone else's. From my perspective, again as a beginner, the Anycubic S1 offers a lot of capability and features. I think this also applies to someone with a lot of experience in 3D printing. The biggest lesson I learnt from using it is that 3D printing isn't as prohibitive or as limited as I once thought. Given the price point of this combo and the price of materials, this machine can pay for itself pretty quickly. It's user-friendly, has wide compatibility, and smart features like wireless connectivity where you can actually have an app on your phone and check on prints remotely with the built-in camera. You've got the AI monitoring to reduce failed prints as well. So in conclusion, I think this is an area that will continue to grow and offer solutions to the photography space as well as others. It's definitely something that I'll be turning to in the future now that I've demystified some of the initial perceptions that I had. Thanks to Anycubic for sending me the printer to embark on this learning experience and share my thoughts with you guys. And thank you for watching. If you're interested in finding out more, I've placed relevant links in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.